The Roman Empire was one of the most powerful and influential civilizations in world history. At its peak, it ruled over vast territories across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. For centuries, Rome was a symbol of strength, innovation, and order. But even the mightiest empires do not last forever. The fall of the Roman Empire wasn't caused by a single event or battle. It was a slow, complex process that took place over several centuries. Many factors, both internal and external, contributed to its decline. In this detailed overview, we'll explore how and why the Roman Empire fell, and what lessons can be learned from its collapse. 1. Division of the empire. One of the earliest signs of Rome's eventual fall was when Emperor Diocletian divided the empire into two parts in 285 AD. Western Roman Empire, based in Rome, Eastern Roman Empire, based in Constantinople, modern-day Istanbul. The split was intended to make the vast empire easier to govern. However, it created two separate administrations with different priorities. Over time, the unity of Rome faded, and the two halves began to drift apart, politically, economically, and militarily. While the Eastern Empire, later known as the Byzantine Empire, survived for nearly 1,000 more years, the Western Roman Empire weakened rapidly after the split. 2. Political instability and weak leadership. Between 235 and 284 AD, Rome experienced a period called the Crisis of the Third Century, during which there were more than 26 emperors in just 50 years. Many of these emperors were assassinated, overthrown by the military, or ruled for only a short time. This constant change of leadership led to corruption in the government, civil wars, power struggles, loss of public trust. Without stable leadership, the empire couldn't maintain order or manage its vast territories effectively. The constant internal fighting made Rome more vulnerable to outside attacks. 3. Military decline and over-reliance on foreign soldiers. The Roman army had once been the most feared and disciplined military force in the world, but by the 4th and 5th centuries, it began to weaken. Why? Fewer Roman citizens were joining the army. The empire began hiring foreign mercenaries, non-Roman soldiers, to fight for them. These foreign soldiers were not always loyal, and sometimes even turned against Rome. The Roman military, once a symbol of power, became unreliable and underfunded, unable to defend the vast borders of the empire. 4. Barbarian invasions. The final blow. From the late 300s onwards, several Germanic tribes and other so-called barbarian groups began to invade Roman territories. These included Visigoths, Vandals, Huns, Franks, Ostrogoths. The most shocking events included 410 AD. Visigoths, led by Alaric, sacked the city of Rome for the first time in over 800 years. 455 AD. The Vandals looted Rome again. 476 AD. The Germanic chieftain Odoacer deposed the last Western Roman emperor, Romulus Augustulus. This is the date most historians mark as the official fall of the Western Roman Empire. These invasions exposed Rome's weakened military and political systems. The empire had become too weak to protect itself. 5. Economic collapse. Rome's economy was once strong, based on trade, agriculture, and slave labor. But over time, it began to crumble. High taxes burdened the population. Inflation, fall in the value of money, made currency nearly worthless. Trade routes became unsafe due to war and piracy. The empire became too reliant on slave labor, which stopped innovation and productivity. As the economy declined, people grew poorer. Cities shrank, and the government couldn't afford to maintain its army or infrastructure. 6. Decline of urban life and infrastructure. Rome was famous for its cities, roads, aqueducts, and public baths. But by the end of the empire, many cities were crumbling. Roads went unrepaired. Aqueducts stopped working. People left cities and moved to rural areas to survive. This breakdown of infrastructure symbolized the end of Roman civilization's greatness. Public life faded, and with it, much of the culture and innovation that had defined the Roman world. 7. The rise of Christianity. Christianity began as a small religious movement but became a major force within the Roman Empire by the 4th century. Emperor Constantine the Great legalized Christianity in 313 AD and later converted himself. Eventually, Christianity became the official religion of the empire. While Christianity offered hope and unity to many, it also changed the empire's values. It weakened the old Roman traditions and polytheistic religion. Loyalty shifted from the emperor to the church. Debates over theology created internal divisions. Some historians argue that Christianity contributed to Rome's decline by shifting focus away from civic duty and military service. 8. The empire became too large to control. At its peak, Rome ruled over millions of people across 3 continents, but this size became a burden. Borders were too long to defend. Communication across the empire was slow. Local governors gained more power and became independent. The empire was simply too big to manage, especially with limited resources and a weakened military. 9. The failure of leadership. Great leaders like Augustus, Trajan, and Marcus Aurelius had vision and strength. But in its final centuries, Rome was often led by inexperienced rulers, selfish emperors who focused only on luxury, emperors manipulated by the military or corrupt advisors. Without strong and moral leadership, the empire drifted into chaos. 10. The Western Empire falls, the Eastern survives. In 476 AD, the Western Roman Empire came to an end, but the Eastern Roman Empire, also known as the Byzantine Empire, continued for nearly 1,000 more years. It was centered in Constantinople. It preserved much of Roman law, culture, and religion. It eventually fell in 1453 AD to the Ottoman Turks. This split shows that while Western Rome collapsed, the Eastern legacy of Rome lived on much longer. Conclusion: why the Roman Empire fell. The fall of Rome was not a single event. It was the result of decades of weakness, mistakes, and pressure from both inside and outside the empire. Here are the key reasons: political instability, economic failure, military weakness, invasion by barbarian tribes, cultural and religious transformation, leadership failure, overexpansion. The lesson of Rome's fall is clear. Even the strongest civilizations can collapse if they lose unity, leadership, discipline, and values. Rome's story is not just history. It's a warning for every powerful nation, even today.